If you could place any object on the surface of Mars, purely to confuse NASA scientists, what would it be? $200,000, a parachute, and the body of D.B. Cooper. I like this one. A NASA spacecraft, one that NASA has no record of. Like something they've never built, but that has NASA logos all over it and clearly has a NASA origin, just not our NASA. Sounds like a Star Trek Enterprise episode. The missing pieces of the Rosetta Stone. Complete with a fourth as yet unknown language. Or just wingdings. That would do it well. A big map of Earth with several points of interest marked on it. And an extra continent, with a big X through it. Atlantis. An exact copy of the Mars rover, or whatever they used to discover it. That's actually a great premise for a sci-fi horror movie. The rover rolls up to the Mars base and they're about to let it in when they glance at the monitor and realize the real rover is a mile away. Beep boop, the doppelganger says time to collect samples. Watch the movie Moon, 2009, sometime if you haven't yet. That's probably one of the better mindfucks. I'd have a legit existential crisis trying to figure that out. A white plastic lawn chair. With a slight chip in one of the legs so they'd be scared to sit down. Except they could sit down, because the gravity of Mars is much less than Earth's. Which means we should send all of our chipped lawn chairs to Mars so that they will become functional again. Simple, velociraptor skeletons in a space shuttle. One of them holding a Bible, so a velocipaster. Another wearing giant gold chains, a clock medallion and an Adidas tracksuit. A velociraptor. A small sign saying, "Caution, uneven surface." Wacky inflatable tube man on the highest peak. Hi, I'm Al Harrington from Al Harrington's Wacky Waving Inflatable Flailing Arm Tube Man Incorporation here to let you know we have an overstock of wacky waving inflatable flailing arm tube mans and need to clear them out now and passing the savings on to you. Liquid water in a mason jar. Scientists have found evidence of a 2012 barn wedding on Mars. Haha, right. They probably would think it was moonshine instead of water. A page from a Martian newspaper, pondering the possibility that there might be life on Earth. A tungsten disc that, when we properly work it out, is found to be the same basic technology as a phonograph record. That is, a purely analog method of recording sound waves in physical media. When we work out the RPM and other details, it turns out it's a recording of David Bowie singing, "Life on Mars." Except in every instance, Mars is Earth instead. The B-side is Ziggy Stardust. The turns have tabled. A fully crewed, by preserved corpses, skeletons of course, Viking longship. We're whalers on the moon. We carry a harpoon, but there ain't no whales so we tell tall tales and sing our whaling tune. I'm a geologist, and I can confirm that just placing the wrong type of rock would fuck up science for like 30 years. I often pick up rocks that I know only occur in specific areas and leave them somewhere that would be naturally impossible in the hope that it will break a geochemist's mind when they find it. Haha, I work at an airport and we have to collect samples of bird strikes on aircraft to send in for identification and tracking to the Smithsonian Ornithology Department. I really want to acquire some emperor penguin feathers for submission just to see what would happen. For reference, I live in the Northeast. I'm 80% sure that a zoo would be willing to give you some spare penguin feathers if you ask. There's always a bunch lying around. I had a friend who implants microchips into fish for tracking. He knew where the readers were located on rivers all over the state. He took one chip across the state and scanned it before implanting it in a fish back at work. Someone scanning fish had to be confused. Taking notes. That is the best thing I will see today, probably this week. Holy crap, it's the space dudes. I just love how NASA responding to someone with the username stir-fry taint. Never thought I'd say NASA and stir-fry taint in the same sentence. An exact copy of the Antikythera mechanism. I mean, of course, a Mars bar wrapper. Like a giant one covering the entire planet under a slight layer of dirt and dust, or just the one regular size thing. Regular size would be funny. Imagine when it would leak and it would get on the news, singular Mars bar found on Mars. Soviet-era spacesuit with a skeleton. With the name tag, Rasputin. Or possibly, Hoffa. An Egyptian obelisk, inscribed with mathematics relating to something like a spatial fold engine or warp drive. You could confuse the scientists by developing mathematics related to a spatial fold engine or warp drive. I could. But unfortunately I am not great at the tensor calculus required yet. Or religious symbols relating to the gods and how they were taken on a journey to a new world. Stargate intensifies. Monoliths describing how Karen is actually a big interspace gate or something. Then watch happily as the globe panics, then sets up expeditions for Karen, only to find nothing there. Or something. It's okay, you can just call it a mass relay. A pyramid combining all the different appearances of the different pyramids on Earth. Filled with booby traps and xenomorphs? A picnic basket, blanket, food laid out with a note, honey, I forgot the potato salad, I'll be back in 20 minutes, and for good measure, a 1953 Buick. To complete the scene, footprints that walk away and just disappear about 50 yards away. I want to read that story, Mr. Bradbury. I like your storytelling. Welcome to Venus. Statue of Liberty half buried in the ground. You maniac. Damn you all to hell. Matt Damon. Matt Damon. Mayat Diamond. Watched this yesterday. Brilliant film. Fuck you Mars. A partially vaporized radioactive manhole cover. I like to think that thing is still screaming at the space to this day, further than any of our other probes even went. I like to think that is our civilization's greatest yeet. A whole ass Dollar General. Dollar Generals exist in the most random rural places already that I'd be like, okay, this makes sense. Usually in groups of 2 or 3 in towns with a population of 382. Spirit Halloween. A Cthulhu statue. Just the biggest one I could possibly find. One of the 28,000 rubber ducks that got spilled in the Atlantic back in 1992. Dinosaur remains holding a Bible. Twist. The Bible is Guadalupana edition. A petri dish worth of bacteria, they'd go crazy if they found it. I was actually going to say a colony of extremophile bacteria, lichen and fungus. I don't give a shit about what NASA find, but I would start the extremely slow process of terraforming the planet. Now I'm imagining the terraforming going unnoticed for several years, and then they find that suddenly a portion of the planet is habitable by small organisms. The banana for scale. A Stargate. A brochure about extending your car warranty. That design we all drew in middle school. The fossilized remains of non-human biped with a sign that says, no more nuclear testing. Non-human biped a chicken? Only if it's plucked. Spirit Halloween. A NASA scientist. Hey, is that Jeff's frozen corpse? Nonsense, Jeff is right. Over there. Guys, where the fuck is Jeff? Not to mention how confused Jeff was for a few moments. Pieces of Flight MH370. Flat Earth Society logo. Flat Mars Society. The Jumanji board game. The skeleton of Hitler, I've had it for decades. Why stop there? Leave a fully functional Nazi base in a random cave. One functioning Furby, modified to have a power source that would last for centuries. A monolith with a QR code to scan and rickroll. Well played. Now we just need to wait for NASA to send a rover with speakers and watch them blast Rick Astley on the Red Planet. Watching NASA get rickrolled on a livestream while billions watched would be the peak of humanity. Obsidian arrowheads. A set of car keys. My lost car keys. Weird rock formations of molecules that are inherent to life. They'd work for years getting into the nitty-gritty of the calcium deposits which weirdly resemble coral on a seabed. After confirming with xenobiologists that this was indeed the truth, topologists would begin to map out truly the extent of these ancient coral reefs. There would be a meeting that is conducted and a 3D model pulled up showing the overall terrain. Some junior topologist, excited to present his first findings, would zoom out to show a crowd of people the words, spelled out in coral, "D's nuts." A picture of a dolphin waving, and the caption "so long and thanks for all the fish."